Sound Radio, broadcasting live from our studio in Nassau, the Bahamas, and throughout the world. And now, another 55 minutes of the best in gospel.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. We're here for an exciting episode. This is International Women's Day. Today, we celebrate International Women's Day, a moment set aside to honor the strength, resilience, wisdom, and grace of women across every generation. This day reminds us that women are not only nurturers and builders of homes, but carry visions, leaders in communities, and pillars in every space God has placed us. International Women's Day is celebration of progress, perseverance, and purpose, recognizing that women walk in many titles, yet are called to move with grace, courage, and impact. Today, I am honored to have a special guest on with me. I want you guys to welcome Diandra Deane. She is a devoted educator, wife, and mother whose passion for travel invites others to see what the world is through her lens. She leads with wisdom, compassion, and courage, modeling what it means to stand firm, remain grounded, and extend grace in every season of life. Welcome, Diandra, to Let's Talk About It. I am so glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Dakara. I'm excited to be here with you, to be on your show tonight. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So let's get started. So my first question to you, what does being a woman mean to you in this current season of your life? And how has that meaning evolved over time?
Oh, that's a deep question. Well, being a woman at this stage in my life is basically, it's layered, right? But at present, it's being unapologetically me. I think as women, we wear so many hats and we would have had to evolve over time. But I've learned that, the season that I am, I just have to be very intentional, with the weathering, with
Yes.
wife, being a person that is a creative, so you wear so many hats. And so I've realized that it's layered. It's a lot about, intentionality. I try not to rush the season because early on, it was like you're trying to figure everything out. And, these things are not in isolation. So it's just an integration of all the different, parts of being a woman.
Yes. And I totally agree with what you said. So for me, what does it mean for me in this current season? For me, it's about becoming. So previously, I wasn't sure if I knew who I was. So this season is about becoming who I was ordained to be, walking in purpose, learning myself, and walking in rooms, like you said, unapologetically, carrying an aura, carrying a grace, being humble, being able to find my voice. This is who it is for me becoming in this season. So I'm so happy that we both resonate with the same things in terms of becoming a woman in this season, because I think a lot of persons are still trying to find that in this season. So, that is wonderful. So my next question to you is, you carry many titles. How do you remain grounded in grace while managing responsibilities, expectation, and purpose? How do you remain grounded?
How do I remain grounded? Well, I would have to go back to being intentional. It is so easy to get overwhelmed,
Yes.
with life. Being a woman is not easy, even though we make it look beautiful. We dress up, we try to keep ourselves up, but it's a lot. And so how I try to keep myself grounded, I definitely wake up before the house, okay? Go into meditation, reflection, journaling, all of these things, prayer, of course. All of these things help to keep me grounded, again, being intentional. So all of the different hats that I wear, I have to be intentional about spending, time with the children, trying to instill core values in them, like right now. And sorry, my thoughts are running ahead of me. And with that, I try to integrate it. So to teach good stewardship, to teach um, just to have patience and, how to water the seeds that you plant. We started like a little garden just so we could have that togetherness. So again, integration, right? Trying to find creative ways where you could kind of integrate just all of these different roles that we play and getting hubby to come along so that there's also the intentionality
Yes.
for the time as a family, and of course, like you mentioned earlier, travel. So putting joy on the calendar. Because I know early on, especially if you have a young family as a woman, you you're busy with a infant child, that strains relationships
Yes.
a lot of the time. It's a strain on yourself as well as, your other relationships, not just, romantically, but even outside, of the relationship. You have these young children, you don't really have time for much else. So again, just being intentional about those intra and interpersonal relationships. So it just goes back to intentionality. Like I have to literally put things down, plan out to say, okay, this is going to be date night. This is going to be time with the kids. This is going to be time, to do a brunch or something, mom. Don't forget to call Grammy. Don't
I
forget to
agree.
with Annie. Keep in mind with the birthdays. It's a lot. Want to be fully present in your
I know it.
as a woman. And so I would definitely say,
Yes.
sorry, so I would definitely just say just being intentional. I keep grounded by just being completely intentional. It will always go back to intentionality.
The intention. Yes. And I agree with that when you say being intentional, because I think a lot of times, like you said, as women, we carry so many hats. We get so caught up in our day to day that we forget life in itself. We forget to even take time for ourselves. We put everyone in front of ourselves and we come last. So intentionality is awesome. Also, for me, when you say intentionality, I also thought about organization, planning your day. Having a schedule in place, like you say, you get up in the morning, there's a routine. You say your prayers, you maybe work out, you go to work, you do your day to day as a mom and as a wife. Organization is key because sometimes you can get so trapped in the day, get so overwhelmed that you just forget everything. Everything just falls to the wayside. So I really like when you said that also in terms of instilling values in our kids, so that they don't fall to the wayside, that we have everything in our house, in our roofs, anything that falls underneath us. Women, we are the pillar. Even though they say we're not, we are the pillar that holds everything together. So if we're not organized, if we're not intentional, everything falls apart. Even though they like to say, and I agree, men are the head of the household, but like they say, women make the house a home. We make the house home. We have a say in the joy. Like you said, bring joy into the day. So we have a say in joy into our homes, joy into our lives. We make everything perfect and we make everything smooth for everyone else. So I think that is just an awesome response.
Yeah.
So my next question to you is, what encouragement would you give to women who feel overlooked, worried, or unsure of their value in this season?
Ooh, wary and their value in the season.
Overlooked.
I would overlooked and wary. I would say to be encouraged. Firstly, I would say that in every season of our lives, there are lessons that we need to absorb. Nothing is, a lot of times we think that things are happening to us, but sometimes they're happening for us. So I would say be encouraged, and whatever lesson that season that you're learning in that season, that's going to be the prerequisite for the next season. So you may feel wary now. I know you alluded earlier to having small children, and you may feel so tired and so burnt out, but whatever you're experiencing in that season, by the time as you have the second child, you're like, okay, I know what to to expect. So that season required you to show up fully, and it was
Yes.
now information, for the next one. And so I say, if you're
Hmm.
wary, seasons change.
Yes,
Nothing lasts forever. And I know sometimes
it does.
when we're in it, we're like, oh my
Exactly.
God, like this is so overwhelming. I really don't know. I'm so discouraged and I don't know how to pick myself up. And I would say be gentle with yourself. Not all the
Mhm.
time, we're gonna have
Yes.
perfect conditions in this human experience. I know we want it, especially us women. We want everything to
Yes,
align.
we do. Yes.
But, be gentle with yourself, fully be present in your season. You may be
Hmm.
where you may feel overlooked, but your time is coming. Take the information, soak it all in. As overwhelming that may be sometimes, take it all in because you're gonna need whatever your experience was in that current season that you're in, it's going to be so beneficial to you in your next season. Then you're gonna look in hindsight and say, that's
Yes.
why. you know.
Why you had to go through what you had to go through at that time.
Yes.
So, to piggyback on what you said, so a friend of mine, we had a conversation just yesterday, and we talked about, and it was a meme that she posted. She said, in your middle age, you're excited that you only have 8 towels to fold instead of 48 pieces of human clothing.
Yeah.
And I resonated with her because I said, there was a time when I thought that I would never get over the baby phase and that independence on you as a parent, as a mother. And today, when you're going through it, you don't. When you are in mid age, there's a happiness because now you have 8 pieces of clothes to fold, like towels and sheets to fold, instead of
Yes.
48 human pieces. And I resonated with that because I know when you have kids and they're in that infancy stage and they're so self-dependent on you, like you feel like you're never going to get over that phase. And then
Yes.
when you see yourself come out of that phase, you're like, wow, you know, it was all a
Yes.
part of the plan. They're not they're independent. They don't have to depend on you. So everything is in a season. And someone said to me the other day, everything blooms perfectly in its own time. So I would
Yes.
say to women, if you feel overlooked and you feel worried, just remember that everything blooms in their perfect time. The season that you in is not gonna last forever,
That's
and it
right.
also goes with prayers, you pray about it. Sometimes prayers get you through those tough seasons and those hard seasons. Sometimes you may feel overlooked, but it may be a divine plan for what is for your future. It's setting you up for what is
Yes.
your future.
Yes.
Delay doesn't mean denial. And I
Right.
think a lot of times as women, we feel like when we're delayed, we're missing out on something, that we haven't hit the milestones that we thought we should have hit. Okay, so like, sometimes women may say, okay, I feel overlooked because at this time I should be further in my career. I
Ah,
should be further,
yes.
as a wife, as a mother, and everything blooms within its perfect time. And you have to give yourself grace in each season. And it's only until you reach the end of the season you realize why you had to go through the things that you
Yes.
did.
And also,
So,
Nakara, I just want to add to what you're saying, and not to compare yourself. And I know,
Mhm.
as we were talking about, seasons and timing and stuff like that, we have to understand as women, all of our timelines are different. Nakara's
Yes.
timeline may not be Deandra's timeline. So we
Hmm.
have to, and I know it's harder with social media because we have like this kind of
Exactly.
world where if you're not doing this or you haven't accomplished this by this time, then you're
Exactly.
behind. So I would say
Hmm.
to just understand that your season is completely different from somebody else's season, even if you have
Yes.
similar stories or you may have similar dynamics rather. Your
Hmm.
season is completely different. Don't compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Of
So,
joy.
allow
Yes.
yourself your process and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yes. Yes. And that's something, like I said, a lot of women battle with that comparison. And, it's a human side to us. And my previous guest, when we talked about identity, it's something that is silent. We may not say it out loud, but sometimes we look at other persons and we're like, okay, maybe I should have been this place at this time. Why am I not here? And, this is where you give yourself grace. Do not beat yourself up for things
Mm.
that you don't understand the plan. God has a plan for each of our lives. So whenever you feel overlooked or you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you're behind, just remember that everything blooms perfectly within time and seasons.
Yes, yes.
So my last question to you would be, what advice would you give your younger self about confidence and a voice?
Wow. What advice would I give my younger self about confidence and a voice? Well, I want to piggyback on what you said. Firstly, by saying, don't beat yourself up. you know,
Mm-hmm.
as women, myself included, of course, we can be
Mm-hmm.
very hard on ourselves when we have to
Yes.
realize that there's some things that would have happened in our youth, in our adolescence, as we are becoming, that only time could teach. You know,
Yes.
a lot of people say, "Oh, if I could go back, I would do this and that and the next thing." But there's some things in life, many things in life, that I know my mom often says that experience doesn't come with, or is it wisdom, doesn't come with youth. That's something that comes with age. So I would say,
Yes.
don't don't beat yourself up. Don't give yourself a hard time. You know, it's always good to think highly of yourself, though. So I would say, if I had to go back, I remember a lot of the things in my adolescence, the voices that were in my head, with the village of women that raised me,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
helped me with confidence. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and this may seem superficial, but this was my reality. So my
Okay.
paternal grandmother and my aunt would always call me dark and lovely. And they were
Mm-hmm.
like, they were very, they were high quality, very beautiful women. So whatever they said, of course, I believed them, right? So
Yes,
even from
yes,
a
yes.
very, very young age, they said that to me. So now that I'm older, I understand that they were
Mm-hmm.
affirmations, and so the
Yes.
voices that were in my head was always that
Mm-hmm.
I was dark and that I was lovely. So I always had this inner
Yes.
confidence that allowed me to move through the world without, as I became a young woman, the voices of the outside world never really had jurisdiction over my life because
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that I was lovely. I always thought that I was pleasant and that I belonged
Mm-hmm.
because my family's voice was much stronger than that of the
Yes.
world. And so
Outside
what it
voice.
gave
Yes.
me was this inner confidence, not only with the superficial things like outside beauty,
Mm-hmm.
but also to think highly of myself, to not think that I am unworthy of the good or the better things of this life. Because sometimes the
Yes.
media, especially growing up, I'm a millennial, so and yourself as well.
Yes, I am.
So growing up, you would have things in the media. The media plays a huge role in the
Yes.
becoming of a young woman, even more so now
Mm-hmm.
than it did when we were growing up. But the reality of it was, if you were not of a certain hue, that you
Yes.
were less than, or
Not
not the
beautiful.
preference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not as beautiful or not desirable. But those things,
Yes.
it wasn't until I think I was a full adult in my 20s that I understood like what colorism was, or what was the preference, because it never dawned on me that I was less than or that I was not the preference. Of course, I was never into
Mm-hmm.
the being male centered, so it never really dawned on
Yes.
me with all of that stuff. But I'm saying that to say this: the voices that were in my head, and I think it made me a little bit delusional, because confidence. I don't know if it's possible to be overconfident, but it was enough confidence to say that, listen, I believe in myself. I don't believe that there's anything that I cannot do. I don't believe that I should shrink in spaces. I don't believe that I'm inferior. So I would say to my younger self, or to a young lady that may be watching
Mm-hmm.
this. It's the voices that are in your head, and we hear them because our parents, and whoever is in our village tell us things all the time. They're going to resonate, and whenever you are in doubt or you want to build confidence, remember the things
Yes.
that were spoken over your life. Those are the things that you may not know now, but they're shaping you to be
Mhm.
who you are becoming. So always listen to that voice. Don't harm yourself by just thinking of the present, because some things feel like really good and present. And I always had to ask myself as a young woman, like, is this going to hurt my future? I
Yes.
always remember asking myself that question because, again, those are the voices um, that was in my village that would instill these things in me. So that's what I would say um, to my younger self and to young women who they're trying to find that confidence and that
Mm-hmm.
voice, and be vocal about the things
Yes,
that,
that's a good one.
yes, be vocal about the things that may be harmful to you. Learn to communicate things. Like one of my good friends said, if you are stepping on my toe, I'm going to say ouch very loudly. I'm not going to be there and be timid and be like, oh my goodness, don't suffer in silence. Find your voice.
And you know something, Deandra, that is actually something very good. Do not suffer in silence.
Yes.
Suffer a lot of times as women, we suffer in silence.
Yes.
We don't want to speak up in rooms. We are afraid that we may be judged, we may be misunderstood. And that is something even myself
Mm-hmm.
have to learn, and still continuously I'm learning that, my voice matters. So
Mm-hmm.
go ahead, continue.
Oh, me?
Yeah,
Oh,
continue.
yes. No, yeah. So that is what I would say. Confidence is something that comes from within. And I also
Mhm.
want to say too, because sometimes you don't have a village. I know some of the young ladies that I get to mentor, they don't
Mhm.
have that person that is in their head to tell them, well, you're more than, you could be this, you could do that. So I
Yes.
would say too, to stick to it, may be, everybody has at least one person in their life that they feel like, okay, I feel safe with this person. I feel like, what they
Hmm.
say has bearing. And in that same vein, us as women have to learn to affirm other women, to build
Yes.
confidence. Because sometimes, and I see this all the time, my husband always says, baby, you like to see, no matter what woman you encounter, you could find something to say about them, because I know the power of words.
Of
And
words,
sometimes
yes.
when you're in passing with a woman, it takes nothing off of you to say, you know what, that's a beautiful brooch in your hair, Nakara. That is absolutely
Yes.
amazing on you. I
Yes.
love it. And those words are so powerful because Nakara could have been
Hmm.
having an awful day. She looks good. She's dressed
Yes.
up. She's fully adorned, but she may be having, she's dealing with a lot. And us as women, as we're speaking about confidence, we do things to make ourselves feel good. So when we step out into the world, you look good, you feel good. So
You
I
want to
would
hear
also
it
say,
still.
yes. So I would say too, don't be afraid to tell that little girl. Don't think that it's small to tell a little girl, like, oh my goodness, you're not only superficial things, you're so smart, you're so intelligent. Do you know that I see this in you? I do it with my students all the time. I call them as I see them in the future. Like, for example, I would say, well, that's my carpenter. Come my world class carpenter. Come
Yes.
come my public speaker. Come my future, whatever it is that I see in them, because I understand, the power of words. So I would say
Words.
confidence and voice goes hand in hand. And I think that we have the ability to speak into the next generation, or to women in passing, as we are celebrating International Women's Day, to be a girl's girl. It's
Yes.
never too late to um, just share a little bit of kindness, because it really can make a difference in terms of confidence, whether you're younger or
Or
older.
agree. And, just want to piggyback on what you said on being comfortable in your own skin, because I think a lot of people, especially my younger self, color wasn't, and we want to put racism in there, but
Right.
being of a darker skin tone was not always considered beautiful.
Mm.
So, as women who are growing up, you are beautiful in your own skin. And I want you to
Yes.
understand that. I want you to recognize that. I want to know that you are loved. You are uniquely made in God's image and God's likeness.
Yes.
And also that voice, find your voice. Don't
Hmm.
be afraid to speak up in rooms. Don't be afraid to walk in rooms boldly, confidently, with a grace, with an aura. And also find that sisterhood. And I
Mm.
know over times it will change, but find that sisterhood that you could connect with in each season of your life because
Yes.
it propels you to the next level and it shapes you to who you would become when you are more mature and you've reached the level that you aspire to be. And like you said, be a girl's girl,
Yes.
compliment, be a girl's girl. And I think that's something that we've lost, that
Yeah.
girl's girl, like, loving on the girls, saying you're beautiful, I
Yes.
love your hair, I love your smile. I just
Yes.
love the aura about you. We've missed that, we've lost that. And as young women growing up, that is something that I would encourage the younger generation to do. Encourage one another as women. Because
Yes.
when one fall, we all fall. We all
Yes.
fall. We all feel it. So on this Women Internationals Day, we need to stand together, united as women in
Yes.
leadership, as a wife, as a mother, walking in our purpose that
Yes.
God has divinely ordained for us. So, Deandra, I thank you. I thank you so much for joining this conversation, this meaningful conversation in honor of International Women's Day. I appreciate your insight, your grace, and you truly added depth to this discussion. So thank you guys for watching this episode. I also want to, Deandra is a world-class traveler. I don't want to leave that out, guys. She's been all around the world. So Deandra, I want you to share your handles with my audience on where they can find you to watch those exciting trips, those exciting destinations, and give us some tips on how to travel smart.
Thank you for that, Dakara. So I am a travel enthusiast, and you can follow those journeys on the time of my life on Instagram, and I am also on YouTube. The time of my life is my handle, and tips for traveling in terms of
Yes.
in celebration of Women's Day too. So I would say, I always say, if you're going to celebrate something, might not be your birthday. Your birthday comes every year, right? And so I would say to plan 12 months in advance. A lot of persons,
Mm-hmm.
especially women. If I had a dime for every time a woman tell me, but I don't have the time. What do I? What's the first thing do I do? Buy the ticket. So the first thing you do is decide when you want to
Yes.
go. Do it, schedule it, or schedule your joy around something that you're celebrating. It could be a milestone birthday. It could be,
Mm-hmm.
anything that you want to schedule that joy. Do it 12 months in advance. And I know this is an international um, platform. And so I wouldn't limit it just to, here locally. So any woman around the world, just as long as you're intentional, you buy your ticket, that means that you're going, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're on your way to having a remarkable time.
Okay, and which destination would you recommend for, a girls trip?
Well, a girls trip for safety, I would really say a cruise, because you get to see like multiple destinations, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have also activities on board. So I would say, if it was a girls trip, I would say do a cruise. Start with the cruise, and then as you become more comfortable with traveling internationally, then you could venture out.
See, guys, we have you covered. We not only have the women covered, but we have everyone covered on every area of our lives. But I thank you so much, Deandra, for joining me on this conversation on this special day, Women's International Day. I hope to see you on more episodes
Definitely.
upcoming.
Thank
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It podcast, where faith meets real and honest conversation. As we continue to celebrate International Women's Day, we also have another special lady returning back to our channel to talk about how we celebrate women. If you aren't familiar with her already, you can look back at the previous episode, The Identity Crisis. Her name is Mahalia Alleyne, and she had very insightful comments on identity and how we identify ourselves. She is back with us today on International Women's Day to give us a little input on how we can support and build each other up. Mahalia, how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks, Nakara. And as usual, it's a pleasure to be here with you and to be here on your channel. So thanks again for having me.
Thank you. And you're welcome to come as much as times as you would like. Okay. Okay. So my first question for you is, how can women better support one another instead of competing?
That's a tough one, Nakara, because I think a lot of time we grow up and this competitive nature is embedded within us. But I think to be able to get to a position where we support each other, we all have to understand that we all play a role, and each role is different but equally important. So, I don't have to compete with you with what you're doing, because you can do it and you can be successful at it, and that's not going to take away from me doing what I have to do and being successful in my own role. And even when we're sharing what we are doing, we can all succeed and we can all benefit together. So I think it's moving away from the mindset where we need to be better than someone, and where we can all grow, develop, move, and, just advance together. I think that togetherness is what's going to change that mindset.
I agree with you totally. The togetherness is what we're missing. Also, too, I think self-confidence. A lot of times we don't have self-confidence in ourselves. So it's almost like we feel like we need to compete against one another. But I think one of the things I would encourage ladies to have is have that self-confidence in yourself, that bird that, hey, we are all on the same level. We are all trying to achieve the same goals, and we can support each other by helping each other, but not competing with each other. We are, all women with the same goals trying to achieve. So,
yeah. And I think it goes back to our conversation on identity, being comfortable in your own self, that you don't feel the need to pull down, fight against somebody else who is becoming in their own identity.
Yes, and each journey is unique, And I think during Women's Day, now that we're on this topic, I think a lot of women, they feel behind. They feel like, I should have been married now at this point. And I think that is where the competitiveness come in. You look at the other woman and you're like, I'm this age, I should be married, I should have kids. But it's not about that. Everybody's journey is on its own time. It's time and seasons for everything. So in supporting women, just know that it may be Mahalia's seasons today, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be my season tomorrow. So that is very good.
Yeah.
So my last question for you is, what does healthy sisterhood look like to you? I mean, we're the prime example of healthy sisterhood, but what does it look like for you?
I would say first and foremost, laughter. Somebody that you could enjoy that moment with. And I would say peace.
Yes.
When you get together with people and you can be yourself, you don't need to be anything extra. You could laugh, you could be relaxed, because sometimes, conversations and relationships are just so intense. You're at the work and you don't want to say something for it to be taken away in a wrong context. But when you find that group of sisters who you can be yourself with, who you can be genuine with, and you could just be happy and relaxed and at peace with, to me, that is priceless. And it's something that oftentimes we take for granted. But if you do have it, please cherish it. Try to foster it and grow it.
I agree. Water the tree. Yes, I agree. And I totally agree with that. 100%. Laughter, persons you can share something with, women you're aligned with, that sisterhood, where in different phases we can support each other, that we can cheer and clap each other, whether it's when we're having our babies, we're together pushing each other like, hey, go ahead. These are the experiences that I have. These are the experiences you had. So I totally agree in that healthy sisterhood looks like not competing, but supporting,
No,
supporting and
that is
laughing. Like you said, laughing, that laughter, not taking everything so serious, and not feeling like when you're in the sisterhood that you feel like you're walking on eggshells, like you can't be your true self. So that is an
correct.
awesome answer, and that is an awesome feedback. I think our listeners can truly take back, and the words are running from me, but our listeners can truly take back and add it to their life. So, Mahalia, sorry about that. Go ahead, Mahalia.
No. I was just saying, absolutely, you're hitting a dead smack on its head. That's really what makes the difference between a true sisterhood and just meeting people in us.
Yes, I agree with that. So, Mahalia, I am so glad you have joined us again on this episode to talk about women, to uplift women. I know you are someone who has uplifted me and has been a part of my journey for a very long time. And, I don't want to say we're the model for sisterhood, but, when you do find that sisterhood and you find that person, cherish it. I think you must cherish it, water it, nurture it, let it grow, and it will take you far. So thank you again, Mahalia, for joining me.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure, and I'm here to be part of the community anytime you need it. It's always amazing, Nakara, chatting with you. And what I would see when you have a true sisterhood, time and distance does not matter.
Yes, that's
We
true.
live hundreds of miles away.
And we're always even on
and it does
different
not
times. We even on different times, and we still find time to meet with each other and have conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter how many time has passed since we last connected. When we do connect, it's as though no time has passed at all. So thanks again to you for the relationship over the years, for the support, the guidance, and just always being there and a listening ear. Sometimes, it's not even the words, but just the presence.
Yeah.
That has truly been impactful and really meaningful to me. So thanks again for having me, and thanks again, as always, for your support.
Definitely.
Thank you for watching Let's Talk About It. If you like this episode, please hit the notification bell button, like and subscribe to our channel, Trumpet Sound Network, and follow us on Facebook. And see you in the next one. Goodbye.